All right, everybody. Welcome to the Paddle and Fin, the Reel Down live on Monday nights, as always.
Live.
Yeah,
What's up?
thanks for watching. As always, we'll give it a little bit of time for everybody to jump on. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing. It's a Monday on a work week. It's one of those days, man. I'm so glad it's over.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, same. It's great. I work from home. Like I work upstairs and then I come downstairs and do this, and it's nice. But I don't know. Sometimes kind of being in the house all day can be a little, you know.
I'd get stir crazy, man. It'd be driving me nuts.
Yeah, it's great, but like I wake up, I eat my breakfast, and like within 20 minutes, I've went from bed to working. So I mean,
Haven't changed clothes. Haven't put on shoes.
Sometimes if you wake up late, Hey,
right.
what's going on there, Todd? So yeah, tonight we've got a good show as always. I mean, we're really fortunate. All the people that are, we haven't had too many people turn us down, but we've been on a roll lately.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, why would you want to turn us down? I mean, I think we're pretty awesome.
We're just talking about fishing. I mean, don't say
I would want to talk to us.
Yeah. Why? Yeah, I'd want to talk to you for sure, but me.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to me too.
Yeah. You do already.
Yeah. It's when you answer is when you start to have the issue.
I always wonder that, like, you see these guys, or men and women that are out on the water doing the YouTube videos. It seems like they're always like they talk, they're talking to the camera and explaining things. Sometimes I'm like,
I can't do it. I've tried.
Yeah, like where's the line between talking to the camera and that being weird?
And then when I get on a roll, somebody rolls by in a boat and just stares at you while you're talking to yourself, and I'm just like, God, I look like an idiot.
Talking to the camera.
You would think they'd see my boom pole, but they're like, what? No, I'm talking to myself. Shut up.
I haven't went the whole GoPro route one day, but maybe I think the goal is I'll ask for one for Christmas.
I'm going to get like a pop-up thing that says I'm filming.
Mm.
Not crazy.
They should have like a flag instead of like a diver or a pirate flag. It should be like, a camera on there.
I'll put that on my what is that thing? The VisiCarbon. Yeah. Fly behind the boat.
There you go. We got Matt. Yeah, I'm going to be fishing with Matt. We're going to have a 4-man team for the KBBT coming up. So.
Oh, you doing it again?
Yeah. They're having a 4-man team one where it's a relay. So each four people on your team get a 3-hour window. And so cool. It's best 5 fish for the whole team, and everybody can fish. It doesn't, like, you don't have to take somebody's fish. So if one person kills it, you use just their 5 fish. But me and Matt, my friend Jeremy is on our team. And we have another one. I forget his name at the time. I haven't met him yet, or Matt either. But me and Matt were in Korea twice. Like, both in the Air Force, both at the same terrible base. For some reason, we both went twice. I don't know why, because we're both stupid and love soju and juicy, juicy stuff. But it was I don't know. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I don't want to go down and explain all
that. That's a huge rabbit hole you can go down for sure.
Yeah, Jason Campbell. There it is. That's the other teammate. I haven't met him before.
That's cool, man. I'm not into that KBBT style stuff. I think it's pretty cool to keep up with, but it's definitely not my style of tournament.
Before they've had the regular where it's just, everybody fish, it's bracket style where you can fish wherever. And then it was team bracket style. And then this one is the first time where they've done, where it's going to be a 4-man team relay with 3-hour window. So it's something cool. And they invited me on team, and I said, sure, why not? So
word. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
So be sure to tune into that, folks.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Reach your boy on.
So let's go ahead and jump into it here. So tonight, we're fortunate enough, we had the 2 winners of the KBF on East-West Harbors in Ohio, and they are Robert Weiker and John Warchol. So let's bring them in here. Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for being on.
What's going on, guys?
Howdy. So yeah, we're going to have a good night. So if anybody has any questions, please make sure to ask, especially if they whooped you. maybe you can get some, because I know whenever I fish a tournament and then some people go on a podcast, like I want to get on there. I want to find out what actually happened, like, and where I went wrong. So if you have any questions, please ask away and we'll make sure to get those questions out. So
we'll do our best to get these guys to give up their spots. It doesn't usually happen, but we'll try.
Yeah.
Sounded like Robert was on a pretty good hole, so we'll see if we can get that away from him.
So here we go.
Good
so
luck.
if people who don't know who you are, John, tell us all about yourself and how you got into kayak fishing.
All right, I am born and raised here just south of Toledo, Ohio. Married, 2 kids. I got a 16-year-old and a 6-year-old. Fished. I've been fishing as long as I can remember. As soon as I could walk and hold a pole, I was fishing.
Yeah.
So I started kayak fishing probably, 12, 15 years ago when all I had was a sitting side.
Wow.
But I actually didn't start fishing tournaments until about a year and a half ago. So
awesome. And do you have a local trail that you fish with out there?
Yep, I fished the BKFT, Buckeye Kayak Fishing Trail. I also fished the Mayo. I fished the Mayo fishing trail also, since I'm so close.
That's the one I was wondering if you were part of. That's the only one I really know from out that way.
Yeah, I try to go.
Heck yeah.
And I'll tell you what, for y'all's area, I think maybe sometimes, there's a kind of groups. There's southeast and northeast, but Midwest, y'all really have some of the biggest and most successful and some of the best anglers around. I mean, there's no doubt that your local clubs are always filled with a bunch of hammers,
Yeah, and our local club has definitely got some hammers.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the area up here because I think if you can learn to fish up here, you can travel all over the country and fish.
That's true.
You can fish well here. You can fish Florida in the south, but the guys in the south don't normally do well when they come up north.
Yeah, the smallmouth and all that. So that's
Man, don't say that. I'm headed up north in 2 weeks. Don't say that.
Yeah, but that's the Mississippi River. That'll be more largemouth.
That's more my style. So I'm gonna keep my positive mind.
River system, but people better watch out for Jimmy. He's
don't you lie that.
He's a river guy, so you might do all right. I'm rooting for you, man. All right, so Robert, tell us all about yourself and how you got into kayak fishing, man.
I've lived in Ohio about 3 years. I started kayak fishing in 2015 in Tennessee when I lived down there. Craig Dye actually had a Cold Hands Classic tournament, and I showed up with my little kayak and no gear hardly at all. And Ron Champion was there. There was about 6 of us that braved the cold weather, and it was let's just say it was an experience. It was cold and nasty, and for some reason I enjoyed it. So, and I got my butt kicked, something fierce. And so then I decided that year I was going to travel all over the state. I drove like 5,500 miles. I fished I think 17 tournaments, had 11 second places and 1 angler of the year that year. Awesome. And got no wins, no big bass. Didn't win nothing. But 1 angler of the year, but all second places.
But that's usually how I am too. Like
we have a guy in our local club. We have a guy in our local club that has a similar story like that, and they call him Runner Up Randall.
Yeah, he called me the best bridesmaid ever for a long time. So
but, that's awesome.
And then we moved up here to Ohio, and I started painting. I painted custom fishing lures for about 5 years, and then 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, we moved here. I decided to try it full time, and we've been doing it full time ever since. And I haven't fished an active trail since I moved here. I've done all the online stuff because I'm in Southeast Ohio. The closest tournament all year to me is probably going to be a 2-hour drive. Right. Like there's nothing down here. Bass fishing down here, I've seen weekday tournaments get their money given back to them because nobody catches nothing. Like it is the worst fishing in the country.
Why did you move there then?
Well, my daughter lived here, and she was growing up, and it's time for Dad to step up and be a big part of her life. So we brought the whole family up here instead of just the whole summer thing. So yeah, I moved to the worst bass fishing in the world. So I decided to fish BKFT this year, and I mean East Harbor's a 4-hour drive, so might as well get after it.
But there you go.
It turned out to be worth it.
I was fixing to say, it looks like it
you're right. Off. And this was the best part about it was my whole family was there, and they've never been to one of my tournaments. So that turned out pretty cool.
Wow, that'll get your head right too, man. You go in with That mindset, like, I got it now.
Yep, and I had the good
fan
luck
base
messages, and it was a good time. It was a great time. So we're gonna fish BKFT all year this year.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, if you have any questions for us two guys, please let us know. And if you like the podcast, please like and share. We we want to bring everybody in we can and highlight the anglers that we bring on every week. We're not doing this for us. We want to get y'all's names out there, and y'all have been really successful. I know it's like you see Cody Milton come on here sometimes, or Christine Fisher or whoever, but y'all are tearing it up. Like, not names that you hear every day. But I mean, y'all have been terribly successful. If you look at your stats on Tourney X, I mean, y'all are both legit guys who have been doing this for a while. So yeah, people need to watch out for y'all too. This weekend was kind of funny how him and I finished out. I didn't realize it till on the way home. I was like, wait a minute. Day 1 I won. Day 2 he's 5th, and then day 2 I got 5th, and day 2 he won. So that's kind of. Odd, but
I saw that and I just started laughing. I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so I'll go over it here on Saturday. Robert, you won with 89.5 inches. Eric Polins, I'm going to pronounce some names wrong. I'm terrible at it. 86 1/4. Nate Hall with 75 3/4. And John, you got 5th there. Or Nate Hall, he had 85 3/4. And John, you had 84. Sorry. And then Sunday, and this was probably, I don't know if it was the biggest 2-day KBF tournament this year, but if it wasn't, it was real close because the numbers have been down this year. On Sunday, there was 60 anglers, and that might be the highest participation for a Sunday tournament in KBF this year. I think so. If I don't have numbers in front of me, but it's staying close. So, John, you got first with 88.5. Mike Fink with 87 1/4. Ryan Havlicek with 84.5, and then Robert, you got 82. So, like y'all said, just flip flop 1st and 5th. And 5th was still enough to get a check. So, I mean, that was y'all both had great days, man.
So it's a good weekend.
Make sure you guys sign up for the bonus bucks.
Yeah, $1,770 missed right here, and I don't know how much he missed, but I missed. That's how much. I think that's what they told me.
I figured so. At first, I thought it was 2,600, but then after I talked to Joe, it was only 1,900, so I feel better.
But yeah, I missed out on 1,770. So between the two of us, over almost $4,000 missed in bonus bucks.
You know, and I think it was Josh Stewart. Was it Josh or Russ or one of those guys?
It was Josh. 30 grand.
Yeah.
Jeezy cow. Josh, when I started fishing, I met Josh. Was probably like the 3rd guy I met in kayak fishing. Him and I fished together forever down in Tennessee. He used to always crack me up because every time he rolled up on him, he's always sitting back in his kayak throwing a stinking Cinco with the biggest smile you ever seen on his face. I don't care if he's getting whooped or winning or what. He's just always just chilling all the time.
That when you were saying you were fishing with Craig Dye and Ron back in the day and all that, I was like, dude, I guarantee you there was nothing but a lot of the big names you hear now all used to run around together down there.
Yep, they were all right around Nashville. I mean, there was right whenever I got into it in 2015 is whenever it really started. It wasn't quite really booming yet, but I mean, it was getting there.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't have got into it in a better time because it went nuts in 2016 and on. I mean, it still is,
and now it's just going crazy.
It was funny seeing Ron was in a Commander 140 and Craig was in a Wilderness something. I don't remember, but nobody was pedaling. Everybody was paddling and everybody was rigged to the minimum, not like we are now.
Yeah.
All right. So East-West Harbor, I think for a lot of us, we think Lake Erie, and we kind of talked beforehand, but you think Lake Erie, you think smallmouth, you think big open water, but that's not what East-West Harbor is. Can one of y'all kind of give us a layout, tell us all about what that is?
Yeah, so Robert and I, we fished 2 separate areas. He fished East Harbor the whole time. I fished west. So I can explain west to you real well because I'm trying to avoid east.
Yeah,
unless there's ice on the water, then I go to east. But so West Harbor, you've got that again. You've got the mouth up north with you can fish docks. You've got deeper water. You can work your way south through the channel. There's a lot of houses on the channels. So you have a lot of boat docks back there. If you keep traveling south, you get down to the marsh, and the marsh is it's a large area on the southern. I mean, it runs. I can't even think how far it is, but you just got a bunch of 6-7 foot water with grass and pads to fish down there. So that's my cup of tea, fishing down there.
Same.
So, and then Robert can tell you all about East because he likes that area.
East Harbor it's basic and boring is what I've always said. It doesn't have a lot. It's just a lot of grass. It's 8 foot deep everywhere you look right now. There's a couple places that are 10 or 11. There's a few boat docks. There's nothing like West. I've never seen West. I went to West Harbor in practice just to go see it, and I wasn't there very long and decided that's a big negative for me. It doesn't play into my wheelhouse at all.
Is it more like grass flats on East Harbor? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So East Harbor is it's literally just, if you can find the difference in the grass, you'll find your fish. If that makes sense. I mean, there's just so many little key features you can find to find big fish. Now you can catch 1,000 15-inch fish there any day of the week, pretty much.
Wow.
But there's not a lot going on in East Harbor that I've ever seen. I mean, I've fished all over it for years, but there's not a lot of lily pads. There's a few places that have pads, but not much, and just a lot of flat, nothing.
Yeah, it's funny because I think West would be more my jam with all the structure of the boat docks, the harbors, stuff like that.
The marsh, that's all me right there.
Yeah,
marsh.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite thing in the whole world is to be in the middle of nothing. That's my favorite thing ever. If I can get out in the middle of absolutely nowhere where nobody'd ever think you'd ever be and find some fish, that's where I like to play.
Gotcha. It's getting thick in here. Mark Coates complimenting me on my voice. That things are getting
better than Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
But
it's crazy that 1-1 on West and 1-1 on East. So it's not like you can say one was a better decision than the other. With so many people fishing with 98 the first day and 60 a second, how congested is it in those two areas where everybody kind of equally split between the two harbors?
I didn't see many people at all. I might have seen a total of 6 or 7 guys all day. And at the ramp we launched at, there might have been 20, maybe a little bit more on the first day. And then the second day, there wasn't very many at all. But there's also another ramp on the other side of the lake that in the spring, it was packed. So I don't know what it looked like in this tournament because I didn't see them.
Yeah, and where I was on West, we see a lot of boat traffic because everyone wants to head down to the marsh at some point throughout the day. Yeah. A lot of guys don't stay long after they get down there and get into that grass and realize that their pedal drive won't even get them through it. So they take off. But I did see quite a bit of traffic, but not that many guys stuck around. Okay. So I mean, 2 big areas. So there really was. There's enough water that everyone could be spaced out.
Yeah.
The whole time you're there. Yeah.
Well, whoever wants to take us through day one, how your day went, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, and how you found them and where you found them without giving up your spot, what you's catching them on. We want to know.
I'll let Robert go first. He won.
No. All right. Day one was the same thing I did in the spring. In the spring, I think I got 7th. And about 4 years ago, we were fishing East Harbor, and there was a greenfish tournament, and we and my buddy were in his bass boat. We were just playing. We were just fun fishing, and seen this guy in a boat whacking him on a spinnerbait. I mean, crushing him. And I was like, better beep that spot till he leaves. And he leaves, and we roll over there and catch a 6 and a 4, and we just had a great day after he's already gone. So I've been living on that spot. I come to find out that there's just a little bit of rock and a little bit of something special in a really, really small area in the middle of a giant area. And so I go there on tournament day, and I'm blanking bad. I'm like, what the heck? I can't find a fish, can't figure nothing out. And I'd love to tell you guys what I caught the first ones on, but if my buddy hears it, I'll probably die. So,
no.
Let's just say I was fishing really, really heavy grass, and I looked up at the sky, and there was a cloud cover come in, and I was like, maybe they're not in the grass yet. So I worked my way out to the edge, and holy crap, it hit the fan. I mean, I started catching like crazy. I caught 17 over 16 inches. and it was just nonstop madness. And then I started flipping. I started just slowing down a little bit when the sun came out bright, and just started flipping a creature bait, and it was just a great day. I mean, I stayed in that little tiny area. I had to keep clearing my track off my screen because it was covering my waypoints. So I had 6 little spots in there, and I was catching them every time I'd make my big loop. And about every 45 minutes to an hour, I'd redo all those 6 waypoints and catch a fish on all of them. So I had to just keep like reset my GPS because I couldn't see it because I was back and forth, the wind blowing everywhere. And then the ski boats came in, and it was pretty nuts. And so I called my wife because I was starting to get pretty excited. And I was like, babe, I said, I think I might win this thing. And she's like, really? I said, yeah. And while I was talking to her, I whacked an 18 1/4. And I was like, all right, got to go. I'm going to win this tournament. So we ended up finishing out with 89 something. And I really didn't think I won. I knew somebody had over 90. I figured for sure because I know how good fishing can be up there.
Yeah.
It was just a flip and bite and then a little something special in the morning, 20 minute just madness, and everything bit like crazy for that 20 minutes. And I think my entire limit was done. I don't think I culled a fish after like 9:30 or 9:45.
Wow.
It was pretty wild. I caught a bunch of fish after that, but I just never catch any bigger ones.
Did you stay out and grind the whole day, or did you finally reach a point where
I never left?
Never
left. I wanted to leave because I was like, if I'm going to fish tomorrow, and I don't have anything else.
Right.
Like I'm a one-hit wonder at East Harbor. I know a few other little things, but this has always been a really productive spot. So I thought to myself once at like 12 o'clock, I was like, maybe you should leave. You're winning. Go try to find something big. I was like, no, I'm going to try to shut this thing out. I just couldn't feel myself off the spot at all. And I wanted to, but I just didn't do it. I wanted to go flip boat docks. It was beautiful, sunshine, but I couldn't see the boat docks, and I'll bet there was 100 people in there doing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially like just looking at Dan showed me how to look at the spot on the KBF site and everything, and I pulled up the maps, and in my head I was like, well, if it was sunny, like I'm pretty sure it was, I bet you the docks were covered up with bass.
I guarantee it. And that's what I was doing wrong in the morning. I was fishing like some really thick, heavy grass, and then eased off of it and was just like, maybe they didn't pull in the grass yet. Maybe they're working the outer edges, and by God, they were. They were working the edges hard.
I had something similar 2 weeks ago, and I figured that out just a little bit too late.
Yeah. The sun was shining, and then some clouds rolled in, and when the clouds hit me, it just clicked. I was like, wait a minute, I'm in the wrong spot. And I literally only moved like 50 feet. It didn't take much.
I see mine was the opposite.
What's that?
I said mine was the opposite. It was cloudy, and then when I figured it out, and then the sun came out, and then the bite died. And they moved in, and I only had like an hour to figure it out. So
mine weren't out there very long, but like I said, it was 20 minutes of just, what every bass fisherman dreams of. You got 20 minutes or just that one big rush, and it was culling as fast as you can, pictures as fast as you can, wanting to get back out there. And I don't have a power pole. I will have one soon, because I kept getting blown off my spot.
Thank you, KBF.
Pedaling. I had to pedal as hard as I could to get up there to get back to them. But every time I got back up there, made flip in there again, cast in there again, it was another big one hit. So,
did y'all have like heavy wind or just a steady wind?
We had a pretty heavy wind in the morning it was glass, and then for like an hour and a half it got pretty heavy, and then it just shut down and it glassed over, and the sun was shining super bright, which was kind of cool because I picked out a couple more places that I could visually see. Yeah. That was the same thing as what I was catching them on in the grass. So I got to mark a few more waypoints to use the next day. And then it got windy and ski boats everywhere.
Which kayak were you in, the Ultimate or the Max?
The Max.
The Max,
yeah. Yep, that was our plan this year. We decided last year that I was going to fish another trail, so we spent about a year planning. I bought a better truck, and then bought the kayak, and we made almost a year of planning out of it just to purchase all the stuff to get back in the game again. And
wow,
got everything ready to rock and roll.
And then boom, you cash a check, it pays off, and it's time to keep rolling.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, John.
John?
How'd your day one go?
Day one. So the week I started with the week.
You got fifth place. You had a great day.
Yep. It started early that week for me. We were able to get there probably, I think I was there 3 days early to pre-fish. So the whole group of us went out early. So I got to say thanks right away. Cody Milton, Eric Siddiqui, Craig Storms. We just went out in one big group and pre-fished. Scanned water, had a good time. Yeah. Yeah. So when we were out, we all went to the point at the mouth, not really the mouth, but the channel heading north out of West Harbor. We're all fishing there a little bit, just pulling a little bass off the point. And I came around a corner. I think I stuck like a 19-inch fish. And then we all separated and just started scanning water. So I was running probably 75 foot on my side scan, just looking for open areas. I was looking for gravel, really. I wanted some gravel and a hard grass edge. Well, I found it. And that day it was a pretty strong wind pre-fishing. So I can tell you, because when Joe called me, I thought we were just talking on the phone, but he was doing an interview asking everything I threw for the tournament. So everybody who read the post on KBF knows what I threw. So I ended up throwing out a megabass spinnerbait, and very first cast, I had another, I think, 18.5-inch fish.
Wow.
Moved another, probably 25 yards, had another 18-inch fish. So by 8:30 in the morning, I had 90.25 inches on west in the spot that I had found. So I just left it immediately, and I didn't even go back. I would go back every once in a while when the wind shifted each day, because one day it's coming out of the east, next day it's blowing southwest. So I just want to make sure that it wasn't, all those bait fish didn't get blown out. So tournament day, I ended up heading back to my spot, trying to get there before anybody else. And where I'm at, there's a lot of boat traffic in and out. So all kinds of guys paddle through it and around it. And I got there. I hit that spot lock on the motor and just sat there and waited. I had 15 minutes, and I was just waiting. And I ended up throwing that spinnerbait right off the rip again, and had about 5 casts, no bites. I pulled out just a little bit because I was a little bit closer to that grass edge. And like Robert said, I pulled out a little bit, and they weren't even on the edge of the grass. They were in that little cove in a school, just smashing bait fish. So I think I had 83. I probably had 83 inches right off the rip that morning. And
that's
I
the right
stayed
way
there a little while. Yeah, you feel good. I mean, you're like, oh yeah, I got to get a limit, and then I'm just going to try and call. But then I had a limit with 83 inches right off the rip. I'm like, oh, I feel pretty good. maybe this is going to stick. So I sat in first place probably until 10 o'clock, or maybe a little bit earlier when Robert posted his fish. I was like, oh my God, I've got a lot of catching up to do. So same day I was fishing that KBBT Sweet 16.
Oh yeah,
so,
you want that too?
Yeah, so I was trying to have a good day to go 90 inches again, like pre-fishing, but it just wasn't happening. So I moved up and down out of my spot. I ended up culling, I think, one time that day to get up to 84, but I caught a bunch of 15, 16-inch fish. But what happened was my spot would recycle. It just replenished itself throughout the day. And in the afternoon, probably about 1:30, they started feeding again. So I ended up coming back down. I set back up. By that time, I changed. I went from a spinnerbait. I was throwing just a jackhammer.
Oh.
And I hooked into a fish, an 18 plus that I was bringing back to the boat. Right at the side of the boat, I'm going to net it. I lose that fish. So by this time, Cody's by me. He was flipping pads. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, Cody, I just lost an 18 plus fish. He's just like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. So we're sitting there talking, and I end up throwing out again, probably second cast. Hooked another one. There's another school in there. Second time I jumped, I lost that one. So, 2 times is bad enough. Third time I hook another pig and lost that fish too.
That was my day too. I did the same thing on day 2.
Like, oh. Like, you've got to be kidding me. So after that, I mean, I caught a couple smaller fish, a couple more 15, 16s, and I rolled in. I was like, oh, well, it just wasn't my day today. I just didn't fish clean. So,
and that's usually how it is. If it's meant to happen, it happens, and they stay buttoned up. Whenever it doesn't, you get fifth and cash a good check.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll roll right into day 2 since you took care of that one.
All right, day 2. Day 2, same spot. I'm going to go there first thing in the morning. So motor over, I lock it up, and I'm going to start fishing. And I started throwing it was my go-to all week. That spinnerbait was fire the whole time. After that, the jackhammer bite turned on. Well, it was no bite on any of those. So I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. What's changed a little bit? We had a little bit stronger wind over there at that time. So I didn't have chop, but it was pretty good. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to try topwater. I'm going to try it. So at that time, I ended up with Megabass Pop Max.
You love that Megabass stuff, huh? Big money?
Oh, I do. I love those things. I can't get a lot of it because they're so expensive, but I can get a couple here and there. So
I can only afford one, and I don't fish with it. I just stare at it because it's pretty.
Yeah. So I threw that Pop Max, and I kept getting blow-ups on it. I mean, and when you've got a 15 that comes up and blows up on your bait, or when you've got an 18 to 20 that blows up on it. I was getting big blow-ups on it. So I slowed way down on it, and I started fishing real slow. And it could sit there for 5-10 seconds, and you could just twitch it a little bit, and all of a sudden, they just came unglued and smashed it. So first fish, I think, was 18 and a half. I was like, well, there's something to this. And the next thing you know, I've got an 18 3/4. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to try to win today. Well, I ended up, I think, 4 fish on that Pop Max. Actually, all of my first 5 were topwater. I never caught fish on a spinnerbait on day 2. And no, I take it back, 4 fish. Because I ended up leaving that spot, fishing some other areas, and I was going to leave the water because I needed to find a restroom. I'll be honest with you. So I'll tell you, I was like, I paddled over to Stormy. I was like, hey man, I'm going to find a bathroom. He's like, are you serious? You're winning right now, and you're going to leave the water? I was like, yes, I'm leaving the water.
I'm winning, but I'm losing, bro. Trust me.
Man, you just pull up and go backwards on it and just.
Yeah. So before I ended up walking on or paddling my boat to the shore, I was like, I'm gonna go hit my spot one more time. So I went over. I used my old tried and true trick of taking my trailer off the jackhammer, and I moved in a little bit to that grass edge instead of being on flat where they were feeding before. And I threw up through the grass to let it drop down inside, and started tearing it out of the grass as hard as I could, and I let it drop again and then tear it out. And that's when I caught my my last. That was an 18. I caught right there. I was like, boom! I've got a good bag. I'm going to find a restroom. I'll be back out later.
All right, I got to hear more about that. A jackhammer with no trailer, huh?
So yes, there's a guy in Florida who he loved fishing chatterbaits, and he saw me throwing my chatterbait with a big trailer down there, and he's like, if you want to catch fish, take that off. I'm like, what? I looked at him like he's crazy. But I did, and just straight retrieved it one time just to see what it was like. And every time you varied that retrieve, that jackhammer darts like crazy. I started catching good fish down there. So earlier this year, like Robert said, we both fished a tournament earlier this year on East-West Harbor. So I had no bite in the morning. I caught one little fish on a jackhammer throwing my normal trailer, and I had no fish. So I wanted to fish the grass, a little bit thicker grass, and when I take the trailer off, I can rip it out, and I normally have good luck. Well, 12:30 hits, and I take off that trailer, second cast, I pull an 18 and a half. So for almost 2 hours, I had one of the best fishing days of my life on that tournament. I went from last place to tied for second by the end of the day. So I did the same thing, just pull that trailer and bury retrieve, drop it in the grass, rip it out. I even jig it down in Florida like that, pitching holes.
I can hear everybody like ripping baits off the back of their chatterbaits right now.
It makes me feel better. It makes me feel better because I've like same thing with a spinnerbait. Some guys use trailers, I never did. So when I first got into fishing any kind of bladed bait, I didn't run trailer, and now it seems like I need to go back to that. So
what do you think that is, John? Is it like, I've heard people, you really don't want a bait with too much action on the back of a jackhammer because it takes away from the vibration. So you're saying with no soft plastic on the back, it even makes it more erratic, right?
Oh, very erratic.
I've never tried that. See?
Yeah, very erratic. I mean, just a quarter turn on the retrieve, you can have it dart 8 inches to the side. So yeah, it's been productive. It's a
well, folks,
it's a good little thing to try.
Got some juice. All right, Rob, tell us about your day 2, your 5th place finish.
I mean, it's kind of weird because my day 2 was his day 1, literally. I mean, I kid you not, everything you just said. I mean, I went out day 2 and went to my spot right off the bat. I caught 2 15s, lost a 17-ish. You know, I lost a pretty good fish. Bounced him off the front of the kayak because I was standing up and I was just flipping. I decided I was going to flip all day. I figured I'd be able to catch bigger fish flipping, so I was going to just nonstop. And I had a pretty good feeling I was going to try for it. I mean, I was going to win 2 days in a row. I knew my spot was really good, so. And I went flipping crazy. I never put the flipping rod down the entire day, and I hooked a fish that was probably 20, every bit of it. Got him right to the boat, and seen my flipping hook was, you know, you sometimes get them just stuck right in the roof of their mouth, and it was not through the roof of his mouth. I was like, oh dear God! So I reached for my net, and I tried to ease him in a big circle and bring him back to the net. And when I turned my head, he jumped and threw it. And I was like, well, this ain't good. But you catch another one, and it was within a foot. Up there, right? What's that?
The 20 is like a mega fish up there, right?
It was a giant. It was definitely a 5+. It was a real big fish. It was the biggest one I had all weekend, and it was within a foot of where I caught my 19 and my 18 back to back on day 1. So, I mean, it was that spot holds them, and so then I started fishing a little harder, and I wasn't doing as good as I did on day 1, but I hammered them on day 1. I knew that spot I knew it was going to be tough there, but I figured I could still catch them. So I come back around to that waypoint again, flip back in on it, whack another big one, broke me off. And then he jumps, and he's like, hey, man, look how big I was. So he was another big fish. So I was like, well, you know, I cashed my check yesterday. I'm trying to stay in a good mood. You know, I had a great day the day before. Do my big round again, come all the way back around. Number 3, set the hook, bring him all the way in, jumps, he's gone. So I was trying to understand what's going on. Every single fish I netted that day, my hook fell out in the net. I changed hooks, put a brand new hook on. The day before, I was punching holes in their head when I set the hook. I mean, there was no missing. I didn't lose a fish, I don't think. And I didn't miss a fish hardly. But something with them, day before, whenever they hit it so hard, my line was jumping clear off the water. The day of day 2, I wouldn't even feel them hit it. I'd lift up and they'd just be there. So something was different. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't make a change. I went down to a thin wire 2-aught hook flipping just to see if I could get them. And I still lost fish, or still missed them. I missed a bunch of fish. But the best part of the day, my buddy Fink rolls. He asked me in the morning. He got second. He said, do you care if I come fish with you? But show me where you don't want me to fish. I said, yes. We roll over there. I draw a big circle on my map while we're waiting for lines in. I said, this is the area I've been fishing. He's like, cool. He stayed on the outer edge of me all day. And at 12 o'clock, he put on a freaking clinic. He started throwing a Carolina rig and went nuts. And I was like, homie, what are you doing? So I pedaled all the way over to him and see what he was doing. And then I looked at the standings. He's in second. And I was like, you know what? My day was yesterday. Today's yours. You can have it. So I left and went way away from our spot, went way high above it, and just started just messing around the next 2 hours and let him go to work. I was hoping he's going to win it, but
I was sweating.
Second place.
I was sweating bad.
I mean, oh, buddy, I'm telling you, he turned it on. It was just like my day 1. I mean, it was like a 20-minute thing. He just went crazy. Caught a 19 and 18, whatever he had. I don't remember, and he told me he was throwing a rig, and I was like, you can't drag a Carolina rig through this stuff. And he's like, watch this. Catches another one. I was like, all right. I said, it's all yours. I'm done. So I went up. I was still fishing, but I took my eye off the prize. I was heading out to go find something else and play around. And 3 minutes before the tournament's over, I hooked up and then took a picture, let it go, and looked over my shoulder. 32 seconds left on my depth finder, and Fink's hooked up again. I was like, oh God! But both of our fish were short. I thought he might have had the winning fish that last minute, but
I called with
other than
10
that,
minutes left. Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I called.
You're right, you did, because I seen that.
Yeah.
I remember telling him that you went up even higher, because I was looking at it. And we got done, both of us just jumped in the lake. I said, it's too hot, and both of us just dove in. He did a backflip off the front of his kayak, and I just rolled off the side of mine. And then those guys I told you about that came over and caught me on my spot, they were like, what are you guys doing? I was like, swimming. It's hot. I was done.
Bad tournament day, guys. The spot's terrible. I'm just going to go swimming instead.
That's what they said. You guys fish here all day? I was like, well, maybe.
Yeah, and
something that's neat that you could get from that too is him fishing the outer edge of your spot in a different manner shows you that whole area seems to just be stacked. So
and he was right in the boat channel. I mean, the ski boats were split between me and him and running over his fish, and that's where he was catching them.
Wow.
So, and
you know you're doing it right whenever Kurt Smith says congratulations to you two for putting it together. And he's one of the best out there. Yeah.
It was fun. And it was, that made it even better. I was out there with my best friend, him and I, and our campsite, there was 4 checks cashed out of our site. So, because Aaron Stahlbaum was there, Fink, and then I cashed 2 checks. So there's 4 checks cashed out of it. So that was pretty cool. But
there's your buddy Mike there.
Yeah, there's Fink right there. Man, that was a good weekend. There was him and I were talking about at the campground. There was 486 inches of keepers caught in my spot in those 2 days. So it was pretty wild.
Wow.
Well, what you fellas got next after this? Anything big?
Portage Lakes. I'm gonna fish. I want to fish all the BKFT tournaments and call it good. I want to head up there Saturday. I've never seen Portage Lake in my life, so I'm gonna head up there and check it out.
What about you, John?
I've got the Elite 8 for KBBT.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was gonna go try and do Boston, but I don't think I'm making that drive. And then I'm gonna keep doing my Buckeye BKFT. That's Portage Lakes again. We've got that coming up. So
either y'all fishing La Crosse or the Susquehanna?
I thought about the Susquehanna, but I'm really pushing hard for the Angler of the Year in BKFT, so I'm going to hit Portage and see if I can gain a couple more points. I think I fished 5 events and had either 5 top 10s or 6 top. I've had top 10 every tournament this year, so I think the guy leading's got 19 points on me, but I'm going to try to catch him.
I don't know where the standings are now, but I was doing the same. I need a good place for Portage Lake, so Robert and I are going to battle it out again on the next one.
I've never seen it in my life, and I was going to go in blind like I did at Clear Fork, and I did I don't remember what other one it was. A Raccoon Creek. Well, I fished Dow Lake in that one, but at Clear Fork I didn't see it till daylight. Had my limit by 8:30 and didn't catch another fish the rest of the day.
That's how everybody was.
Man.
You had 45 minutes to find those fish.
That's exactly. I heard everybody on that Clear Fork said the same thing. They all caught their fish quick, and that was it.
Yep.
But I'm going to make the trip to Portage this weekend, do some practice. It's a 2-hour drive, but I want to at least see it. I don't want to see it in the dark on tournament day again. That's a little stressful.
I've been able to fish those quite a bit. My family lived there for 12 years, so those are the first lakes I fished in my kayak 15 years ago.
My messenger will be open all week if you have anything you want to share. You know what I mean?
We'll be sure that we keep up with that tournament too to see how y'all battle it out.
And
there's a couple lakes there.
Todd Patrick said that John, you're in 5th and the Mayo ALY right now, so you got a chance.
I got to run for that one too.
Yeah.
So that changes my plans. They've got one coming up too. I'll have to fish. Great.
I couldn't read what that said. It said something about Angler of the Year. What was that he just said? I didn't read it.
Yeah, he was saying that John is 5th in Mayo right now.
And Robert, with one more event, you'll be top 5.
Oh boy! Don't tell my wife that. She'll know where I'm headed.
And then the last Mayo events is August 29th on Clear Fork and Knox. So, yep.
August 29th. I think that's an open weekend for me too, and I like Clear Fork. I mean, at least till 8:30.
Watch out.
Yeah,
45 minutes.
All right, so we always want to give everybody a chance. Thanking sponsors, anybody that makes this easier for you. Robert, day one winner. We'll give you a chance first.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. I mean, I'm not sponsored by anybody. Jack Baits. I mean, I fish a lot of Jack Bait stuff. I fish their jigs religiously. They make a dock rock jig. It's probably one of the best skipping jigs I've ever seen. But other than that, I don't have really anybody to thank my wife. She is an absolutely amazing trooper in all this. Like I said, we started a year ago to plan this season, and she's just always uplifting. I mean, when I come home from a tournament, I got my wife and kids waiting at the door. I mean, they're always. And the funny thing is, when Dad cashes a check, the kids know we go out to eat. So it's the thing we've always done. So when I was leaving Sunday, my daughter's sitting there. She's like, "We went out to eat." I said, "No way, I'm tired." She said, "But 2 checks, 2 dinners." I was like, "All right, you got it." But
Got it figured out.
I've got the biggest support crew of my family that anybody could ever ask for, and so I mean, I just want to thank my wife and kids. They keep it going. They support every bit of it. They're in the shop doing hooks and split rings while I'm not running around fishing tournaments and getting my mail done. So
cool.
They do. They keep it all together.
Where can people see your custom baits and stuff?
What's that?
Where can people take a look at or buy or whatever your custom baits you do and stuff?
LineOutCustomTackle.com is our website, and then we're on Facebook and Instagram, and if it wasn't for the kayak community, then we wouldn't be the full-time business we are, because I sponsored about 18 clubs for the past 5 years all over the country, and they keep us rolling all the time. So,
well, if you want to pick up another one, I got one down south you could pick up.
Well, shoot me a message. We can definitely do that.
Heck yeah.
And you said you're looking for a trailer, right?
Yep.
So yeah, if there's any trailer people out there looking to add a teammate or something, give old Robert a holler. Maybe he'll.
Yeah, we're definitely looking to purchase a trailer this year. I'm tired of putting it in the truck. I need the truck for the room for all the camping stuff. This weekend we had to bring both cars all the way to East Harbor, so my wife drove 4 hours the day after I got there to come up there. But
that same problem.
We're definitely in the market.
Yeah, that's why I had to get one too. All right, John, how about you with that fancy Dakota lithium hat?
Well, first and foremost, I have to thank my wife for sure. I always tell everybody she has always been my original sponsor. She even went and got a job at Bass Pro when I started so that I could try and get a little bit cheaper price on it. And awesome. she's still there. So
that's awesome.
That,
I'm gonna call my wife right now.
Yeah.
Gotta thank
job.
Yeah. Then I gotta thank Dakota Lithium. Stormy has really helped me out in all of this. They were the first, and they've really helped me out a lot. You know, with Dakota came Motor Guide.
And yeah, you're one of the few people with a Hobie with the XI3 on the front, right?
Yep, I do. Venom Lures out of Ohio. That's another. Need to thank them also. I can't go.
Check out their. I don't mean to interrupt you. Their little DK rig for the Ned. I really like that hook. I've never bought any, but it looks good.
That is nice. That's nice to be able to fish a weedless Ned. Yeah. So Venom Lures, Fin Feather and Fur Outfitters. That's also here in Ohio. Along with them, Yak Power. And then just recently, I mentioned Motor Guide with that motor on my Hobie. Denny Romero with On the Water Innovations. He made that mount for me on that Hobie. And without him, I wouldn't have a trolling motor. So anyone looking for a kayak trailer or mounts for that Hobie, because guys have asked about it, On the Water Innovations. So just recently, I joined their pro staff, so I'm excited to do that also.
That's awesome, man.
They've definitely been coming out with some cool stuff lately, so there's no doubt they're up there at the peak of the best kayak trailers. Yeah.
Well, that's it for me. Those are the guys that helped me out.
Yeah, appreciate y'all, and I'm with the rest of the year, how it's been going for y'all. I'm sure we'll probably have you on again, but thanks for being on show, and hopefully we'll be talking to y'all again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us. For sure.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right. See ya.
All right, so there we go.
That's two of the most matching days of fishing on two separate areas of the lake that
flip-flops, different harbors.
That is awesome.
Mike Fink, I'm telling my wife right now she can quit her job and go to Cabela's up the street.
I literally text my wife because she's been talking about a career swap. I've got this on lock.
Bam. There you go. That's
help me out.
That doesn't suck.
And I know somebody that works there, and they get a phenomenal discount.
Do they really?
Yeah. And like they, according to my buddy, they still can, like, if there's a sale, that doesn't affect their discount.
Wow.
I
remember whenever I first got out of I don't remember when it was, but I applied for them because I had been a retail manager before, and they didn't have anything at that level that I wanted. But they tried to give me a lower level job. I should have taken it. Should have been like
when they first opened the one up there by your place over there in Leeds. I applied, had an interview. They were going to put me like in the clothing department. I was like, nah, you can put me in the fishing department, or I don't want the job. Like, because it was just going to be a side gig for extra discount, Yeah.
All right. So as always, we love to talk about, and that's really why we're here. We get to talk about fishing, and we like to highlight anglers and clubs from around the country. So we'll go over all the clubs and how they did this week. And this is all clubs who had 30 or more people in it. If you ever want us to highlight a club that wasn't, just shoot us an email or a message, either me or Jimmy, and we'll be happy to talk about you. And this week, sponsored by Brian Schiller. So if I pronounce your name wrong, just shoot him a DM and he'll shoot you one back with some nudes. I don't think you want them, but that's what he told me. So
they're really bad, but
yeah, at your own risk. First up, we have East Texas Kayak Fishing. They had their classic on Sam Rayburn, 47 anglers. First was Dwayne Taft. That's a name you hear a lot. 101.25 inches. Andrew Middlebrook with 97.5, and Adam Patrone with 94.5. Next up, Mountain State Kayak Anglers. They're charity fishing for the Mountain Mission. 97 anglers, and I think it was statewide, but since it was for charity. Rick Goff with 86.75, Jared Brown with 80 inches, and Jared Thomas with 79.75. And in Queen City Kayak Bass Fishing in North Carolina, they had Santee Cooper, 87 anglers. First up was Matt HAWJ. I won't even try. Hajaw. I tried. 80, there you go. 87.75. Nick Huddleston. He won the Tournament of Titans last year on Gunnersville. 75.75. And Tracy Stanford with 73 inches. North Virginia Kayak Bass Anglers, Battle of Three Lakes, 34 anglers. James Coleman, 74 inches. Gary Duncan, second with 56.5. And David Steiger with 55.75. Next, and that was definitely a tough tournament with those numbers. But next up, we have the Kayak Bass Bracket Tour. And all these people made the Elite Eight. 3 of them were in New Canoe Pursuit. So I got that out there, of course.
Shout out team.
That's right. Shout out. Derek Brundle, Mason Good, David Brook, Kyle Zemke, Mike Berlin, John Warchol, we just had on, Jerry Thyme, and Marcus Coates. Marcus, he is surprisingly good. And, he's in a pursuit, so that's cool. Kayak Anglers in Missouri on Lake Mizongo, 36 anglers. Marty Hughes, the master from Nebraska, with 89 inches. Joe Bailey, 84.5, and John Stickley with 83.25. Then Indiana Kayak Anglers on Tippecanoe River. I love that name. 70 anglers. Clint Stanford, 75.75. Merlin Hammer, 76 inches, and Chad Howard in third, also with 76 inches. And then Colorado Kayak Fishing Club, they were on Horsetooth, who we had not too long ago. 48 anglers. Ryan Kidd in first with 73.25. Eric Ali with also 73.25, and Rick Valdez with 73 inches. So numbers bunched up right there. Yak Bass way out in Cali. Lake McClure, 89 anglers. Mike Ensign, 90.5. And he was just on the Dark Waters podcast not too long ago. So check him out. Listen to that if you haven't already. David Owen, 82 inches. And Damian Tao, who's always a killer, 80.5 inches as well. And then that tournament was in conjunction with the KBF at the same time. And that only had 34 anglers, but in that one, Damian Tao got first. So he had a very good day. Yeah, Jabongo Zhang, that guy's always killing it, 78.5. And then Scott Sabaco with 78.25. Next up, Washington Kayak Bass Fishing on Silver Lake, 30 anglers. And this tournament was brutal. First place only had 4 fish. So I didn't look at the rules, so I don't know if it was a 4 fish or 5 fish. But he won, James Davis with 65 3/4. So eighth place and less only caught 1, and 11 people zeroed. Second place, so first 4 fish. Second place had 2 fish. Dan Walker with 34 inches, and then Patrick Calejo with 2 fish as well. So James only won with 4 fish. So yeah, brutal out there that day.
Brutal.
Yeah. SoCal Kayak Anglers, Lake Hodges, 40 anglers. Jonathan DeMonet with 85.5. Ryan Moriarty with 83.5, and Brian Lipke with 76.5. Kayak Bass Fishing Tennessee Saturday Night Lights Tournament on Percy Priest. And first place was Joshua Sharp, 84 3/4. Ashley Cheney, 80.5, and Matthew Case with 78 1/4. And last but not least, also another very tough tournament, New Jersey Kayak Bass Fishing Club on Merrill Creek, 32 anglers. And I believe this was a 5 fish limit. First place was Ryan Mejia with 34.5 with 2 fish. And second place was Brian Thomas, 34 1/4. And third place was Michael Kowalski with 33 3/4. Only 3 people had 2 fish. So a couple of brutal tournaments out there. Summer, it can always go bad. You know, you get bad conditions, or maybe it was a shortened day. It's hard to know looking at Tourney X. But yeah, congratulations to all the winners. And like I said before, if you ever want to talk about your club and you have less than 30 anglers or an online tournament, just let us know. We'd be happy to bring it up.
So that's got me that Tennessee tournament on Percy Priest at night's got my brain going. I think we should do something like that here.
You love to fish night tournaments, right?
You have no idea. I've done it in a boat.
Yeah.
I've went out with a couple of guys at night, but I've never thought about like holding because I know a lot of folks would show up for that.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun if we'd like do a night tournament on Gunnersville.
Yeah, NACA throwdown at night. That'd be cool. Yeah, way to do it. The only time I ever fish I'm from the coast, so we go out gigging for flounder at night where you have the light and you're spearing the other, and the flounder is my favorite eating fish. But the only time I ever fish up here at night is for crappie, and I've never done that out of a kayak. So
I'll tell you now, and it's not like a secret for anybody. Like summertime night fishing is arguably better than summertime day fishing.
Yeah.
If you like to catch fish on a frog, like now is the time to go do it. So I want to take you on a float trip, but you need to come up here one night. We need to work it out with the wives and kids. You need to come up here and we'll do like a 10p to like 3 or 4 in the morning frog trip. It can suck, but sometimes it's really good.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm always down for an adventure, man.
Heck yeah.
All right, well, that's it. Well, thank y'all. We're wrapping it up right an hour. How about that?
We appreciate everybody tuning in like always, and we'll be back next Monday at 8 Central live like normal.
That's right. And we'll have at least a couple more great guests. And I'm not sure what tournaments are going on next week, but there's definitely some big ones coming up in the future. So good luck to everybody in this weekend coming up. And
I think that Susquehanna event's next week, isn't it? No, it's the 8th.
The same as we've put this out there, but the Alabama Bass Nation Gunnersville tournament, it's a classic qualifier that you can fish August 8th on Gunnersville Saturday. Jimmy's the tournament director. And if you've already paid your Bass Nation fees in another state, you do not have to pay them again in Alabama. Correct. So you can sign up. It's $100 plus your $15 Bass membership and your Alabama Bass Nation deal. But come down fish. It'd be great practice if you're not fishing that Susquehanna event and you want to check out Gunnersville for the
come on down
NC coming up. Yeah, it'd be a good time. Great camping if you've never been here, and just a great, beautiful place and great time.
Fishing on Gunnersville is great. If you're somebody that likes to fish deep grass or skip docks, this is the time of year to come out there to do it. So, if you, like he said, if you're not going to the Susquehanna to fish that Hobie event, come on down. We'd love to have you. We got some good sponsors. We're most likely, of course, going to have to do the whole virtual thing, but it'll be a good time. So come on out.
Yeah, come on out. But as always, thank you for watching them. We'll be back next week, and wear your PFDs. Be careful, people.
Good night.
Night.